Hey guys, happy day before Christmas, Christmas Eve. I'm going to be offline tomorrow. Remember, tomorrow we do not have class. You can continue to work. It's not like Moodle will not be available. I'm just not going to be online tomorrow because it is a holiday. And then Thursday in the morning, I will not be available for my office hours as well. I'll be traveling. I will not be back online till Thursday evening. So I just wanted to touch base with you guys and cover some high notes over any questions I think you might have over this week's assignments before I go offline for Christmas. And I hope you and your family have a nice Christmas as well, and you'll be ready to start back with class on Thursday. But anyways, class will still be available if you have some downtime over Christmas, but it's not required because again, it is a holiday day, December 25th. So relax, use it however you want, and then just be ready to finish the rest of this class. So if you notice, this week we have a lot of quizzes. This week we have our material, our readings. We're over skills that you will need to be able to write your research paper. We are doing more things with the CRAAP test and the Evaluating Outside Sources Learning Unit. Last week you had an introduction to that on discussion board 1B when you evaluated one of your peers' sources, and you only had to answer 5 questions, and it wasn't in as much detail, but hopefully that gave you a feel of things that you need to be looking for on your own sources, like what makes a credible source, and how can you tell using the questions on I hate this name, the CRAP test. But anyways, and then also we learn how to summarize, paraphrase, and quote, and incorporate those techniques into our research paper. That's how you'll get your materials from your outside sources into your research paper, is by either quoting them or putting them in your own words. If you're going to summarize, if you're going to put a large section in your own words, say like the entire article, that technique is called summarizing. But if you take like 1 or 2 or even 3 sentences from the original text and put those in your own words, that's called paraphrasing. And you'll need to use all of those techniques when you write your research paper. Especially you want to make sure that you're not over quoting, because nothing is worse than reading a research paper that feels like they just copy and pasted things from the web. And there's really the writer's voice gets lost. There's no original thoughts because all it is a collection of quotes. So you want to make sure that that you're doing those techniques described in the incorporating outside sources into your research paper book, where you, if you're going to quote, you always introduce the quote with a signal phrase. Usually that's at the basic level, it's just like the author's name and a verb, like Dr. Smith states in his article, blah, 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 and there's your quote. And then you always want to make sure that at the end that you put your in-text citation. An in-text citation and parenthetical citation are the same things. People sometimes get those confused. Let me actually go down here to this MLA in-text citations unit. But it's the same thing. In-text citations and parenthetical citations, they mean the exact same thing. And it's just let me see if I can find an example. Here's a good example. It's just a parentheses with the author's name, and if there's a page number. Now, I realize a lot of times, even with our library database articles, because you're reading them on the web, they're not going to have page numbers like a print article would. So a lot of times you won't have the page number, you'll just have the author's name. Notice, like this example, they did not have a signal phrase. Romantic poetry is characterized by the spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. And then the parenthetical citation with the author's name, Wordsworth, and the page number 263 is at the end of the sentence after the quote. Notice if you give a signal phrase, like this example right here above this one, they actually put the author in the sentence. Wordsworth stated that romantic poetry was yada, yada, yada. If you do that, then you just need the page number in the in-text, the parenthetical citation in the parentheses at the end of the sentence, because you've given the author right here in your signal phrase before the quote or before the paraphrase or summary. So if you do that, then you don't need the author name at the end, and sometimes you won't even have a parenthetical citation if you don't have a page number and you do your you list the author's name in the signal phrase at the beginning. So sometimes you might not have to have a signal for an in-text citation, but I always say err on the side of caution and go ahead and do it at this point, especially for your rough draft, because I want to make sure you have those skills. So these two books, make sure you read them carefully. The Incorporating Outside Sources and the MLA and Text Citations will show you how to incorporate research for your rough draft. The MLA in Text Citations also has videos and information about your works cited page and how your in-text citations work with your works cited page. Remember, if you use an outside source in your paper, if you quote or paraphrase in your own words anything from an outside source in your paper, not only do you have to give credit in the sentence, like with in-text citations or signal phrases, to the author, but you also have to have the full publication information in a works cited page at the end of your paper. And that's where you give all of the publication information. And we actually started on that last week with Discussion Board 1B, where you listed all the publication information for the 5 sources that you found so far for your paper. So you take that publication information and you put it in MLA format. In our book, that's part of your readings this week, is you're supposed to read about how to document sources, section MLA 4, especially MLA 4B, and it has all the different types of formats for any kind of source that you can find: a book, a verse poem, a play, a library database article, an article in a journal. Every kind of type of source there is. Your book has an example of how you'll put that on in MLA format. Also watch these videos about how to create a works cited page. This is actually a tutorial that takes you through the basic format. And then these videos are wonderful as well. They show you how to create a works cited page. Remember, you need those library database articles. I tried to help you last week on the discussion board with my replies to your post. Just like identify some databases that would be good ones for your topic if you didn't have any library database articles in your post. So you'll need at least one. I'm looking for that. Now, I would like to see all your sources come from the library databases. So this last video in the MLA in-text citations in the works cited page learning unit, this last video right here shows you how to create a works cited entry in MLA format for a library database article. So please watch that, and that will help you so much when it comes to creating your works cited page for your rough draft. Your rough draft, you're actually going to submit it on the peer reviews board. We're going to go down here really quickly. Actually, just before I lose focus, so all the quizzes, some of them are multiple choice that you can take several times. Some of them, again, like quiz 6, you'll only have one opportunity to take, and so make sure you're ready. In this quiz, for example, you're going to be getting a passage and you have to create a summary of that passage in your own words. Practice those techniques that you learned in the Incorporating Outside Sources learning unit about summarizing. And when you submit this quiz, when you're ready to submit, you're not going to receive a grade automatically for it because you're actually typing in things, and it's not a multiple choice, true or false kind of quiz. So because of that, I actually have to go grade these by hand. So just don't panic if you don't see a score for the ones where you're actually typing in and creating a summary or creating a paraphrase or quiz 4, submitting the answers to your CRAT test, because I will have to go in and grade those myself. So just be aware of that. Discussion board 2 and discussion board 2A and 2B are pretty self-explanatory. You're practicing your summarizing skills and just summing up what you've learned so far. You can also talk about not only the class material, but the things you've learned about taking an online class, things especially from like the syllabus, and hopefully this wasn't for a grade, but it's just a practice quiz, the important student orientation information, some very vital information in this. Remember, you're responsible for reading everything in this section. So if you haven't taken that, please do. But anyways, you can discuss that, any information that you've learned that's been helpful about online class techniques and learning and winter classes, you can discuss in your post as well. And discussion board 2B, we're talking about what characteristics good argument research essays have. Last week we had the essay writing review. You could talk about anything you learned about crafting a solid essay. And then this week we're really talking about research paper elements, in-text citations, works cited pages, correct MLA format. Just take all those techniques about writing good research essays that we've talked about and you've had readings over, and just highlight to me what you think makes a good essay, a good research essay, what makes an A-level essay, and what on the flip side, what can cause you to score poorly on the research essay. What are some mistakes that writers make that can hurt their grade? Or you can talk about plagiarism. That's a big thing with research writing. Not giving proper credit to the authors of your outside sources. That can cause you to fail, the whole class. So you can talk about all of those and then discuss your own experience with research writing. In the past, have you had an assignment like this in high school or in college? What techniques or what elements of research writing cause you problems? What things do you excel at? You can discuss that as well. So pretty straightforward discussion board. And then the biggest assignment for this week, the thing that most of your big assignments in week 3 hinge on, is the peer reviews board. This is where you're going to submit your rough draft to your peer review group, and you will not be able to see everyone in the class posts. You're in separate groups in this board. There are 4 different groups, and you will only be able to see posts from your group. This way, you won't get confused next week on who's in your group and whose essays you need to review. So you can only see your group, and you should have about 4 to 5 people, I think, in your group. And so when you've got your rough draft ready, you've got 2 pages at least, you've got 2 incorporations of outside sources through quoting, paraphrase, or summary, and you have a works cited page with at least those 2 outside sources that you've used listed with the complete MLA publication information, then you're ready to post your rough draft to your group. And you can do this, and how you submit your rough draft to your group is on a discussion topic, and that's pretty easy. You've been doing those for the past 2 weeks. So you just type your subject, and you just put your name, like Jennifer Stewart rough draft. You can type a nice message to your group. Hi guys, attached is my rough draft. And any questions or that you might have for your group, things that you really need help with. Like for instance, I'm a little worried about my MLA in-text citations. I would really appreciate some help with that. Whatever you're needing help with, and that message will be to me as well, because I will be reviewing your essays during our phone conference that you'll sign up for, and we'll have starting next week. I know it says that you can just type your rough draft in here. You know how Moodle messes with the... sorry guys, hold on a second. Ignore. You know how Moodle messes and changes the format of your post, so it's not going to have like things like paragraph indents or double spacing. So I would suggest instead is going down here to the attachment section of your post, and just like we talked about, adding files, it's just like the quiz 4. You can drag and drop your rough draft file into this section or you could go through the whole process of uploading a file. But I would attach it that way. When you're ready, just click the post to forum button and it will post your rough draft to the 4 to 5 members in your group. Those are the only people besides me who will be able to see that. Okay, so anyways, in a nutshell, that's the assignments for this week. Hopefully you'll be on